Just as we do on all of our other designs, we use a heavy-duty clamping system. With the Swift and the Skein-winder, you get two 5/16 inch L-bolts with heavy-duty clamps and wing nuts. They are designed to go through these slots. Those slots are not decorative, they're purely functional. And in this case I've mounted the second bolt, as you can see, on the back side, because I'm on the corner of the table, and I can do that. By doing that, I've made it really secure. But normally you would put it on the front two slots on a regular installation. And you can see that that bolt, that's 7 inches across by about 5, I believe it is, and it's 5/16 inches in diameter, so it's extremely strong. Why do we do that? Because we don't want that Skein-winder or Swift to come off for any reason. You know, this is a pretty big unit. It's pretty heavy in the sense that it's about 15 pounds, I think it is, 14 pounds. And even though it'll stay stationary on the table, we certainly do not recommend you use it without those clamps in place, especially if you're using a motor drive. So you should use it, because if anything happened on the supply of yarn that's feeding the unit or what have you, it could literally pull the unit right off the table. So you have to use those clamping systems. As you can see here, we're re-skeining. We're coming off the Swift and going to the Skein-winder. Here it's running at maximum speed, about 128 RPM, 256 yards per minute. One of the things that's really nice with this design for the yarn guide post is that the yarn lays extremely flat as it's wound onto the Skein-winder. And you can see here that it just is really nicely wound. I'm going to show you the sleds that are used to hold the yarn guide post. As you can see, it's a large dowel. It's 5.5 inches of linear space here in this area, and it's got this cap on the end which prevents the yarn from popping off. We've got a soft touch knob here that allows you to adjust the brake. Also, this plastic guard, you'll notice, has a line. That line aligns with the the measurement strip on each of the arms and tells you when you're at that specific yardage or metric calculation. On the bottom, you can see it's a aluminum extrusion. Everything's mounted into that aluminum extrusion, including the captivated bolt. So as we screw on that dowel, you can see it's connected to that hex head bolt. So as you tighten it, it can't come loose, and it can't go anywhere. Protected by the hex head fastener. This black material here is the brake. So as we adjust you can't see it very well there, but as you adjust the knob down, you're pushing that brake against the inside portion of the aluminum extrusion that this fits into. So this whole assembly here has tremendous functionality, in the sense that we're controlling the yarn, we're controlling the brake, we're sliding this mechanism back and forth inside the extrusion, we're preventing the yarn, where this dowel goes in, it's countersunk, so it will not allow the yarn to get trapped between the dowel and the extrusion or the plastic plate. So it has a whole bunch of functions there. So once you mount this sled, we call it a sled, inside the extrusion, it slides back and forth. And then you can tighten the brake. Now you can't move it. But that brake you saw was a black plastic part that simply pressed against the inner surface of the aluminum extrusion, so it doesn't leave any marks at all. Unlike wood, the people that use wood unfortunately have to deal with that problem, because when you press something against the wood, depending on how you do it, there are ways to avoid that, but nonetheless, you don't have that smooth, running surface here. As long as you loosen the nut, or the knob here, 3/4 of a turn, it'll slide back and forth with no problem. If you only slide it or open it slightly, you could get what I call chatter, and that's simply because the brake is causing the assembly to catch every now and again. So you just loosen about 3/4 of a turn, and then tighten it where you'd like to do that. After you slide the sled on, then you insert the screw called the stop screw. You put a lock washer underneath the screw and bring it in from the back. Of course, you would tighten it securely with a Phillips screwdriver. And then you put that black cap over it, and that protects the assembly so it can't come off, as you can see. And finally, you put the end cap on. That protects the user from if they ever touch the end of that aluminum extrusion, which could be sharp, so that is a protection feature. In this sequence, I'm going to move the Swift or Skein-winder unit from the table mount to the floor stand. First thing I would do would be loosen my knob on the back of the unit, which I've just done. Pull it up. Position it into the floor stand. At that point I would reconnect my knob. And as you can see, we're now mounted on the floor stand. To give you some perspective, I'm about 6'1". You can see I'm standing right next to the unit where my hand is hanging. If you were shorter than that, the handle would actually be closer to your waist or what have you. So it's very easy to control from this position. You don't have to lean over or anything like that. You can also position the chair in between the legs. So you can see I'm sitting here and I'm operating the unit where I'm carpeting, so it's a little unsteady. But this is an extremely heavy-duty stand. It won't go backwards, won't go forwards, certainly won't go to either side. And when we even mount the motor unit on the back, which would transfer when you put the unit in, it would transfer with it, it would not represent any problem. You can see I'm feeding yarn from a cone on the floor through the yarn guide that's integrated with the stand, and you can see how well it works. I can also apply tension to that guide by simply loosening the knob and turning it and retightening it. I can either increase or decrease the tension on the yarn. The gap between the two legs is 22 inches. The handle itself will range between 31 inches off the floor and about 36 inches. Now the lower position is 31, I guess the higher position is 36 inches. So it gives you an idea of how high that is off the floor. Of course, when you're working on the tabletop, you're right off the bat, you're 30 inches off the table or off the floor. And then you've got an additional distance to the handle. So this is much lower, obviously, than the tabletop version. The floor stand is really a piece of furniture in and of itself. As you can see, it really enhances the unit, makes it truly portable in the sense that you can put it anywhere. You don't have to have a table. You won't take up any table space. And it's made of the same soft maple with heavy-duty hardware, and can also accommodate, as we mentioned, the motorized drive, as well as the rotation counter. Everything that can go on the tabletop can be mounted here, because you're simply moving the tabletop unit to the floor stand. Now we'll simply transport the unit back to the tabletop unit. Of course, I would have unloosened the knob down there and then reattached it up here, but that's as simple as it gets. Finally, on the motorized unit, this is a power base that we're using from our ball winder product line to control the motor at this point, but we will eventually have a small remote control device that'll sit here on the table outside the range of the spinning arms so you don't get hit, and that will control the motor speed, forward and reverse, and on and off function. But I think you can see that when you combine the heavy-duty design we have with a powerful high torque motor running about 128 RPMs, we've controlled the speed so it doesn't take off like an airplane, but it certainly will pull any arm that you've got that you need to pull. It's got the integrated counter, and we'll eventually have a high-tech, high-performance rotation counter that will also control the motor. So that unit expected later this fall will be a great new product, we think, combined with the normal Swift that we offer, or Skein-winder. And we plan to have many additions and add-ons to these products, including the ability to have multiple skeins wound simultaneously. So I think you can see that this is yet another fine addition to our product line here at Nancy's Knit Knacks. If you have any questions, please give us a call or just check our website. Thank you very much.